It goes down to that threaded barrel aspect, making it an assault weapon per Connecticut general statutes. Welcome to Lock and Load Podcast. My name is Josh, where we talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues. So today, we're going to talk briefly. These are my short little podcasts we do in case you are new to the channel. Just about 22 caliber, and maybe 17 HMR, rimfire rifles, and what is legal in Connecticut and what is not legal in Connecticut. So, let's first start off with probably one of my personal favorites, which is going to be the Tipman M4-22. Now, this is available in 22 LR or 22 Winchester now, WM. Now, we have two real options on these guns, and they're the exact same options. They are different price points between the two calibers, but the first option is a non-threaded option. So this is basically looking like your regular AR-15, but it shoots 22. For the most part, a mil-spec lower, mil-spec stock, grip, but a proprietary upper and bolt carrier system. Mil-spec handguard rail, well, proprietary to that, but it does take like your regular, M-lock options and your normal pick rail options. Now, non-threaded pin stock is option number one and going to be your cheapest option on the market. Option number two is going to be the pin stock and a pin and welded Gemtech quad lug adapter. Now, if you don't know what that is, we'll explain it shortly for you here. Now, the Gemtech quad lug adapter is a piece that threads onto the barrel and then gives you 4 lugs, a quad lug. We then take that over to a gunsmith because we don't do this in-house. They pin and weld that onto the threads, which then eliminates the threads. So now we no longer have an assault weapon per Connecticut general statutes. And then there's another piece that quick detaches onto those 4 lugs and then gives you threads that you can then thread onto a regular suppressor like a SilencerCo Sparrow 22. Great can, I recommend, by the way. And that gives you a CT legal AR-15 that shoots 22 or 22 Winchester with a detachable magazine. Now, the stock does have to get pinned per Connecticut general statutes. It's basically a regular AR, just shoots 22 or 22 Winchester. Those are some of my personal favorites. Now, the other kind of favorite on the market, where I'm really trying to, when anyone asks about these, I really recommend Tippmann over them, is the Smith & Wesson M&P 15-22s. Now, there's 2 legal variants for Connecticut, and then obviously we can do some work on some other ones. But 2 SKUs straight from the factory with pin stocks, one with a red dot, one with flip-up sights. And the cheapest version with those flip-up sights is the same price, non-threaded, with the pin stock as a Tippmann is. And the whole gun on the Smith & Wesson is proprietary, where on the Tippmann, just the upper receiver is proprietary in this aspect. So I like when things are a little bit more mil-spec, because it makes finding parts or changing parts a lot easier if you ever need to go and do that down the road. Now, obviously, we can go the other route with that Smith & Wesson M&P 15-22, and we can get the threaded barrel model, and then we can pin and weld that QD system from Gemtech, just like we do the Tippmanns. And that's going to drive the price up a bit, just like it does the Tippmanns. We're talking about $135-ish piece and about $75 to pin and weld that, and, there's your difference on that. Plus, then your cost of your can. There's another company, and I can't figure it off the top of my head. They do make a 17 HMR rifle. Again, same exact concept that we've been talking about here. So we either cut and crown the threads or we pin and weld a QD system. That's what I would recommend. But semi-automatic detachable magazine, rimfire, pin the stock. But you're talking a lot more money for that round. Do your research on that round. It's pretty interesting. It is a zippy round. And then we get into your regular basic looking rifles. So again, we're sticking on the 22 category here. So 1022s are a personal favorite too, especially the takedown or what they call the backpacker model. That holds 3 additional magazines in the stock, plus it can come off and snap into itself. I mean, you can literally throw that in a backpack. That's why it's called the backpacker. That one's a pretty cool model. Definitely one I would recommend. They make some more. There's probably about 15 to 20 different SKUs of Ruger 1022s out there. Another really cool one we had in stock at one point. It was the Magpul X20. The whole gun was less than 4 pounds. It was stupidly light. Very cool gun. You know, a little expensive, but pretty interesting gun. Threaded too, so you could throw a can onto that. Now, with the Ruger 1022s that look like a normal hunting rifle, you know, like a Mini 14 or something, you do not need to pin and weld anything onto them. You can just have the threads there because we don't have that pistol grip and we don't have that adjustable stock. So it does not make it an assault weapon under Connecticut general statutes, which is, you know, nice. Your other option is then a bolt action 22, right? Ruger makes them. They make their, I think it's the Ruger American. And there's a whole different versions of those. Also, Springfield makes them too. We have a couple of those in stock right now. They're actually really nice. They take Ruger 1022 mags, but they're made by Springfield. The wooden stock one's super nice. The polymer one's actually pretty like kind of tactical-ish. That one's kind of nice as well too. Definitely with like one of the most popular ones is going to be those M4 Tipman M4-22s, especially with the QD system, to take that suppressor, because those suppressors, right, your $200 tax stamp's getting eliminated here. So let's talk about that SilencerCo Sparrow 22 real quick. One of my personal favorite cans on the market. The can is $350 for a 22 rated can from SilencerCo, good company. It's 17 rated, 22 LR, 22 win, and 5.7 rated. I believe it's also full auto rated. For $350 plus Connecticut sales tax, and now we're not paying a $200 tax stamp. That's a good deal in my opinion. The other one that's probably really cool is another SilencerCo Sparrow, not Sparrow, sorry, the Switchback, a little modular, so you can get the different size of the can there. You know, it's like a 2/3 and then broken down into another third with an end cap. That one's a pretty nice one as well. It's a little bit more pricier, I think, around the 5 to 5 and change price point. And maybe one other one that I can recommend is going to be the Huxworth Flow TI titanium. You're going to lose a lot more. You'll lose a lot of weight on that, and that's always good for your rimfires, right? Because most of these guns are pretty light in general, because they don't need as much metal because we're shooting 22s out of them. So those are what available for Rimfire 22 guns in Connecticut. For rifles, handguns, we'll talk on that briefly. Why not? We have time. So let's talk about some handguns too. So all of your handguns, right, we can probably make legal with few exceptions, but some of them do definitely require some work. And again, it goes down to that threaded barrel aspect, making it an assault weapon per Connecticut general statutes on handguns. So we could do some work, right? Pitting and welding that Gemtech quad lug adapter. How many times have I said that this podcast? Somebody should keep the count down in the chat there. But we do that for the Ruger Mark IVs that you probably have seen on our Facebook page if you've been following us for a while. So we take a Ruger Mark IV, you know, whatever the variant of that is, with a fixed barrel and pin and weld a quad lug adapter to it. That then takes the other quad lug piece, and then we can thread a can onto it without having a threaded barrel, which takes it out of the AW category. Those are really nice guns. We do that work on them, which brings up the price a couple $100. We also had a charging handle onto the back too, just because I think it looks nice and it's kind of a little more tactical. That with a red dot setup is a great gun. With a SilencerCo Sparrow 22. See how all these like mingled together? We just did the other day an FN502, same exact concept, a little pin and weld job on there, and made that legal as well. And then your other semi-automatic 22 handguns, as long as they're not threaded or don't have high capacity magazines, they're going to be fine. Now, a couple weeks ago, we released a video about a customer who purchased a Taurus TX 22. Now, it was a 10-round SKU, but unfortunately, he purchased this online through a retailer and it came threaded. So we needed to, in his case, he didn't want to do the quick detach system. So we ended up just doing a TIG weld on the threads, and again, outsourcing for this to make that compliant. But again, because we outsource, like, we charge because they charge us. And he ended up, what he thought was a great deal ended up getting a pretty expensive gun because of it. And that, it kind of sucks for him. If you ask us first, we can go over options and we could probably order just about anything we need to. So ask us before you buy, guys. Come into the store, have a chat with us, talk to me, talk to Nick, talk to Dave, talk to other Josh, and we can go over options on what you guys want. And try to make it Connecticut legal if it's possible. Not all guns are possible to do that, but a lot of them are. I would probably say most of them are, for the most part, So if you guys have questions, drop it in the comment section below there. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. That costs absolutely nothing to do. Share this. That would be cool too. And we will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye. Lock and Load Podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load Podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL Podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.